welcome to the PunchCast episode 8 part 2, which is also our second day of E3 coverage live from LA. I am your host, Evan, and with me again this week is John.
Kojima talked to me about Sam, and I confirm everything.
Nobody knows what we're talking about because me and you were on the other show, but these two other people aren't, so they don't know that this was a joke that went on for too long.
Everything Sam said is false.
And that voice is Liam, also here eating a great hot dog.
Hello, it is hot and smelly in this E3 showroom that we are definitely in. Yes.
And talking to the sound technician is Jeremy.
Yeah, actually my computer was tripping for a second, so I had to kind of restart all of my programs, so awesome. Love it.
We're recording this on all our brand new E3 branded MacBooks that are limited edition.
Yeah, because everyone uses Macs, right?
In this world, they do.
Yes. Perfect.
Anyways, today we'll be covering the second portion of the E3 2016 briefings, which was Ubisoft and then Sony to wrap it up. Let's go right in because we have a lot of games to talk about and several very good games to talk about. So Ubisoft came out.
Just Dance. Let's talk about it.
Dancer peoples, and I was like, you know what? Normally I'd be mad at this, but this is kind of entertaining, so whatever.
I missed this.
That was not entertaining.
I thought it was great.
No.
I caught the show just at the end of the Ghost Recon stuff because I wasn't kind of meant to watch it all, so I missed this whole dancing section, which is
That's
obviously very sad.
Shame.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know, it was a little weird because when it happened, it was like, well, what the hell is this? And it kind of dragged on for a while. Then it's Just Dance 2017. Aisha Tyler comes out and she's like, yeah, so that's Just Dance and moving on. It was pretty funny.
You know, when you say it dragged on, Jeremy, that is a theme that was throughout the entire Ubisoft show.
Absolutely.
that was their entire problem. But I'm sure we'll get to that. But
oh, most def.
Yep. So anyways, that's the game that's coming out. No one's surprised. Cool. Don't really care. Just like fighting games, we don't really talk about those here at Ground Punch.
No.
After that was probably the really first big multiplayer chunk of gameplay we've seen for Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Oh, yep.
I thought it was pretty rad. It looks like fun and interesting. It's just another game where I don't know if it has legs that is going to be, long enough for me to actually want to play it continually.
It looks really, really cool, obviously, but I am very wary of these demos that are on stage and very, very staged. They have this a group talk that is obviously very scripted. They have a situation that kind of looks very cool and very effective, but I'm just not sure yet.
I think multiplayer games with these that are really contingent on, I guess, group play and communication, like Rainbow Six Siege and maybe Division, and Wildlands, obviously. I think they get hurt when they have these really scripted, almost dude bro faux actor type thing where who the fuck is going around playing a game talking about Tango Down? Like, what? No one that I know is playing a game like that. And I think because you have this uber unrealistic script, this writing, it hurts the gameplay because it's not realistic. So those moments might not actually happen. And I think that's what kind of turned me off a little bit from the Wildlands demo. But it definitely, it looks interesting. I like what was happening. I just wish it wasn't so scripted.
What I want is them playing the game on stage in complete silence with the occasional, fucking hell, I died. As is my experience in all my multiplayer games. Or, that was a great headshot, awesome, and then otherwise complete silence. That would sell it to me, I think.
Yeah, or just more like, hey dude, watch out, there's an enemy right there. Boom, snipe. All right, got you. Go ahead. Something like that. Just more natural. These, they're it's like they're covert ops, right? Just with this lingo, this language that no gamer ever uses. So, I don't know. It looked fine though.
John, what did you think, fella?
For me, I thought the demo was impressive, but I've only played one Ghost Recon game, and that was Ghost Recon Future Soldier. And what I liked so much about that game was the future tech element of it, whereby you had things like active camouflage. You had
very cool
X-ray sights and things like that, so you could see through walls and all that stuff. And when I saw this game, I was just like, okay, they're using standard military weapons, they're using standard vehicles. There was no interesting technology that I thought they would have, considering that it's using the Ghost Recon license. So that was my one concern, is I hope there is really good technology in here that's going to be interesting to use, and that the gameplay as a result of that will be more imaginative rather than just go into this location and shoot a bunch of guys.
And what about you, Evan? Because I know you were a huge fan of the Ghost Recon series.
Yeah, back in the old days when they were hardcore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They kind of lined up a bit in like the newer generation of stuff. And Future Soldier and Advanced Warfighter or whatever it was
quite different. Yeah.
They were okay. Like, they weren't by and large not something I was super interested in, but I played them. The Future Tech stuff, I don't really care. Like, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
It's like they'll have the drones, and you got cool vehicles. It looks like the helicopter they're flying around in, and all sorts of stuff. So I mean, I don't need camo to be cool, because that was
John.
They were trying to hold on to their stealthiness, and this looks like they're stealth, but these are like merchant marines in a way, where they're just out there, and they have some big brother guy looking at them. But
A-team game. Yeah.
Like, we're the normal guys with, I'm wearing cargo shorts and a bulletproof vest. Let's do this.
I love how they, real quick before we move on, I just love how they said, all right, guys, let's keep this stealthy. He goes in with his silenced pistol, kills like 2 guys. And
promptly puts it away.
Yeah, and then comes out with his SMG unsilenced and starts blasting people. I'm like, what? Stealth? What?
Yeah, that was a little weird, too. That was the thing. He's like, all right, let's go. We gotta go in quiet. We can't let them know we're here. Okay, we got him down. Okay. All right, we're going. Okay, I guess our gun's hot now. They saw us, and it's like, well, you're shooting a very large weapon that makes lots of noise.
Yeah, like, what? How the hell do you expect to be silent? That was funny.
I'm excited to see, where it goes and what it actually fleshes out. Because it pulls out at the end when they're like, all right, we made it. And then it shows, like, oh, do this here. And a bunch of stuff pops up on the screen. Like, look at all the things.
Things.
We'll see where it goes.
All the things.
South Park. Let's talk about South Park.
Yep. After this, Matt Stone and Trey Parker walked out on stage with lots of crude jokes, and they showed
bad language, which
they
was
hold
very
no punches.
surprising.
Hold no punches.
They did not.
It's, I really didn't even... The Stick of Truth was cool and a novelty to see, but actually playing it, I was not interested at all.
Oh, really? I loved The Stick of Truth. It was great.
I never got around to actually playing it, unfortunately.
It was a really nice little RPG, and it was actually quite little. It took about 12 hours to beat, which was perfect because I don't have time anymore to play these big, turn-based RPGs, and it was just really, really funny. And yeah, it is a novelty, and it could only last as long as it did, I think. But it was, for me anyway, really well done. But with this one, I didn't see a whole lot of it, but it kind of seems like they've changed up the battle system quite a bit. It's a little bit more tactics-based now. It's not a Final Fantasy clone, but more... Oh, what's that game that you like, Jeremy?
It's kind of like the Banner Saga.
Yes, that was it. Yeah, like just in terms of you moving around the board as opposed to taking turns. But I like what I saw for sure. And what was that? In this 6th of December as well, so that's pretty soon.
Yeah, and you pre-order, you can play
Stick of Truth.
Like right now, I think it just comes immediately.
Not a bad deal.
But and also the other part of it is for me is that like, yeah, the gameplay is fine and stuff, but I have plenty of other games that play like that or other games I want to play, and I don't really care about South Park that much. Never ever been interested in that show.
Yeah, kind of the same. Like I've always loved South Park, but I just don't know if I have the temperament to play a South Park game, especially considering that I think the Fractured But Whole, let's try to get that name correct, I think that the gameplay is too much like the Banner Saga for me at least, and having played Banner Saga 1, 2, and like bought it on multiple platforms and love that game so much that I'm probably just going to go back to it. I don't know if I really want to play a game that's that similar. Granted, it has its own kind of flair and its South Park nature, but I don't know. Maybe. We'll see.
It'll be a lot more fun, I'm sorry, than the Banner Saga.
Definitely.
I'm just going to put it out there. But
no doubt.
Yeah.
It also comes out after like a metric shitload of games come out too.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be playing this in the new year. I think this will be quite a nice game to play in the new year. Or just, it isn't a thing that I have to buy right now, but when I saw it, I was quite excited. All the same.
No, I think it'd be a fine game to play, in the new year, January. I think January right now is a dead month, maybe? Because we have some games in February.
I forget now, the really big game that is
Resident
coming
Evil
out.
7's coming out.
Resident Evil 7, that was it, at the very end of the month, which is crazy.
Oh, shit.
And we will talk about that later, but oh man.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Damn.
After that, they came out and talked about the Division crap.
Yeah, we can
Survival
pass on
expansion.
that.
Underground and Survival. John, do you still play that game?
I play occasionally. I thought in terms of survival, I thought the cinematic they showed was quite interesting, just in the sense that right now a lot of the Division content is very focused on the multiplayer aspect of the game, and that looked a lot more narrative driven. It looked like we're going to get we're going to have a story that's going to be single player, or that you can play single player, and the guy they showed at the end, he's got a ton of the Division watches adorned on him, which makes me think that there is a backstory there that hopefully they tell, where you go around and it's like, oh, here's a dead agent and this is the guy who killed him, and blah blah blah. But that's me being hopeful, probably won't actually come to fruition.
Well, there was the first wave, or the first Division wave that was mentioned in the Division, and I guess you kind of fight them, so it would be cool if they sort of flesh that out, and I think that's what Survival is doing, I hope, because that's probably some of the more interesting stuff than, I guess, the aftermath of what's happened, because kind of like Destiny, it's like, oh, this happened, and now we're kind of moving on, but it doesn't really do a well enough job of explaining what happened, how it happened, who it happened to, what it looked like in the process. So I hope that Survival, it fleshes out that story a little bit. I hope.
The game is dead to me. The game is absolutely still dead to me. I didn't even get to the end of the main game. It was so incredibly boring. This one won't be for me, unfortunately. But also, I played it again without friends online, so that may be a big part of it. I did play it with online people, but they range from, the good, the bad, and the swearing a lot. So, yeah.
Hashtag Get Good Club.
I'm interested to see how the weather element plays into it, because they talked about having extreme weather, and in Division, you get flanked quite a lot. There are grenades that disorientate you. It can, if you're hit by one of those stun grenades, it's impossible to aim and shoot enemies. So I'm wondering if there's going to be a gameplay mechanic tied to the weather that's going to be interesting and change up the gameplay, because in these type of games, you play the same scenario over and over and over again, and you need something to refresh that scenario and keep it new. And so I know saying, oh, the weather's going to change it up, that may sound a little dumb, but if they do it right, if they do it right, if they play with things like, field of vision and sort of enemies flanking you and stuff like that, I feel like there's something interesting that can be done there if Ubisoft has the imagination to do it right.
I think Ubisoft has the imagination. I mean, I just feel like they're trying to compete with Destiny without trying to do anything different, really, and I think that's the problem. So, because I don't know, Underground didn't look all that interesting to me, but Survival seems like it has a little something there, so I guess we'll find out.
We've spent too much time on this bloody game. Let's move
Absolutely.
on.
What? We've hardly even gone 15 minutes.
We've gone.
I love Division.
No,
we hadn't finished one on the last episode by this time.
Oh wow.
We hadn't finished the intro by now.
Yeah, I know. Now I feel like I'm pressured into doing stuff. I don't like it.
Crack that whip. No, but it's fine to talk at length about a game. That's absolutely fine. I would just prefer it to not be specifically The Division.
Yeah, I don't want it to be The Division. Let's move on to Watch Dogs or For Honor or something.
Or
Nope,
Eagle Flight.
Take a break. Jeez.
Let's not talk about
We have a schedule here. Actually,
Okay.
I'd like to talk about that game because it looked interesting. I mean, it's not going to be it's not a VR seller. Well, hold on, back up. It's a VR game that you play a bird, mostly eagles, as I've seen, or hawks.
Or falcons.
And it's kind of like a team-based
Capture
the objective, kind of racing game
shooter
in a way.
kind of FPS.
I mean, kind of a shooter, not really.
I don't know.
You plop a dude and he's gone. But they're all playing these birds. They have controllers in their hands, so it's not like a Vive movie move thing where you got controllers flailing around.
Yeah.
But you can control, the bird looking around with your head, and you're kind of watching out for the other team, and you're trying to make sure your team's alive to capture the rabbit and take it back to wherever you're supposed to go. It looked, pretty rad, but obviously it's not worth spending money on any of these VR things, but it was I don't know why they decided to show it in the middle of their briefing.
Yeah, again, I think the game will be just fine actually, and it looks like it'll be quite fun. It's just, it's hard to gauge that from an on-stage a demo. Again, as with all the stuff with VR. But I thought they were going to show maybe a minute of this match, just to give us a taste or a flavor of the game, but they showed us a whole fucking match, and it went on
and
forever.
It was so boring.
It was.
Yeah, it was just really boring. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think one thing that I really want to note is the low poly graphics. I'm a fan of low poly design, but man, I imagine that this game is rough. Obviously, it's rough, and I imagine it's early. I don't know if this is alpha, beta, or I guess somewhere in between. But man, the game graphically, in terms of it being a virtual reality experience, was not compelling for me. Maybe that'll change if I ever get the chance to try it, and see, that's the problem with VR games. They're really hard to sell in a demo, as we've already said, but holy crap, looking at that game, I think I like closed my eyes for a little bit. I was getting pretty bored.
No, yeah, that's the thing Sam and I had talked about as well, is that it's a totally different experience having the headset on and
Oh yeah,
being
definitely.
in, like, when you're doing like that. They don't look good on stage. Like, Resident Evil 7 looked like fucking trash too in that video. It looks, it just looks so bad. It looked like a free Steam game or something. So yeah, it's just a thing. It's a perspective thing. Like, obviously, it is a VR game made to be played in VR and will run in VR, and putting it on your like TV screen is not ideal.
Yeah, it's kind of like the one they showed next with the Star Trek, in that you see the character models, you see, you know, that world, and you think, that looks really bland and boring, and it isn't up to snuff with what we are now used to. But I'm also very aware that if you put on that headset, you'll have a completely different experience. But, you know, with Eagle Flight, when they showed it off, was at the PlayStation event at the end of last year, the trailer for it looked quite different. In between now and then, or, you know, maybe it was just the trailer being a bit off, but it did look a little bit downgraded for sure, yeah. You know, for me, it doesn't really bother me, but I can totally see where you're coming from, Jeremy, for sure.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if it's like a deal breaker or anything where it's like, oh, this is fucking low poly, this looks terrible, like I'm just not gonna do it. But, you know, there's that key word, immersion, right? To be frank, that demo was not immersive. Like, first of all, you're an eagle or some sort of huge flying bird, so okay, cool, I'll take it. But then you're shooting, and I don't know what the hell you're shooting.
You're cawing. Sound waves.
So you're shooting sound waves.
Obviously, you're coring. Yeah.
Come on, get your bird eye.
Man, I need to up my bird knowledge.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, so I don't know. I was a little taken back. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Call of Duty now? I'm shooting stuff? What? I don't know. I think it'll be fine. Maybe. I hope.
It's not really a point about the game, but more just VR in general, which is that this was a live on-stage demo that, for an entire multiplayer match, didn't crap the bed. And that's impressive just in and of itself, considering the previous VR demos we've seen.
I think that's the first time that they've had a live match that wasn't staged that went completely 100% right. Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, that's good, I guess.
Hats off to them.
Yeah, and moving into the next one, same kind of thing. This one I think is cooler than Eagle Flight, the Star Trek bridge crew where you you fly a ship or something. I don't know if there's like, if it goes somewhere, if there's like an actual point, or if this is another like, oh look, it's cool technologies. They had, you know, it was a Reading Rainbow guy.
Oh man.
His name is escaping me. Anyways, he played the guy in the original show. They had Carl Urban from the new movies. They're testing it out too when they were all sitting there. What?
LeVar Burton? Is that the guy you're trying to
think
of?
Yeah.
LeVar Burton, yeah.
Loving it, yeah.
Rainbow, yeah.
And he was great. He really saw VR kind of more than anyone else on that show. He was like your dad. He was really a down-to-earth, honest guy going, this is great. This is fucking great, guys. Honestly, you should try it out.
Yeah, he was really excited. I liked his enthusiasm. His enthusiasm, like, hyped me up. I was pretty excited.
Yeah, exactly. With the whole Star Trek thing, though, they did this really cool in-depth video, like Evan mentioned, with all the cast and things like that. But then they had to bring him back on stage for an additional interview. So it kind of sucked the joy out of this a novel experience by it going on for so long. Again, with the Ubisoft thing of just kind of, let's have a segment on top of a segment, and again and again and again. But, you know, from what I saw anyway, the fantasy of being on the Enterprise, being on the ship, being in the captain's chair and giving orders to everyone was really cool. I just don't know if anyone of my friends, I don't know whether they're all going to have their own headset and copy of the game and be close by. It just seems like a bit of a steep barrier to entry.
Mm-hmm.
For me, this game is like, it's the perfect fantasy. Yes, you want to be on the bridge of a Star Trek ship. You want to be with your friends. You want to be going on an adventure. But ultimately, when you're there in your house, sitting in a headset and the VR probably won't work properly. You're on a chat headset with someone. It's just that fantasy isn't going to be realized. It looks really good in demo and it's like, oh, that would be awesome to play. But when you actually get around to playing it, sorry, but it's probably going to suck.
After that, we saw a pretty decent chunk and some actual kind of setup and backstory for Honor, which is...
Yeah, Jeremy. Your a favorite game ever, I think, yes?
It's like 3 kind of warring faction tribe civilizations. You're kind of apparently going to move through the story and play kind of all 3 in chunks as they kind of intersect and whatnot. It's like a third-person action game in most ways. It looks a lot like Rise did, where medieval-ish combat stuff, executions, all that jazz.
It looks real good.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yes, still not sold on it. It's different, for Ubisoft. It is its own thing for sure.
I think that's what draws me in the most. I mean, I'm a sucker for Japan, first of all, and I'm a sucker for samurai. I'm a sucker for the Sengoku period, the warring period, whatever you want to call it. So almost any game with that history in it, I'm immediately drawn to. So even though the warrior games by Omega Force and Koei Tecmo are kind of, I don't know, repetitive every year, I buy them all the time, and I love that style of gameplay. So I was really digging this, and I like that it's a different feel, a different vibe for Ubisoft, considering what they typically do, kind of run-of-the-mill open world games. Guns, open world, just tons of stuff to do, and then you have this kind of hefty, like, warrior game. That's kind of tight. So I don't know. I was really feeling it.
And it isn't like you have long to wait either, because it's out next year, February the 14th, isn't it?
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day, yeah.
No, that's Persona 5 Day. Who gives a shit about that?
Wrong.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Jason Vandenberg said that the game has split screen local co-op, so that's cool too.
That is actually quite cool.
When I was watching that gameplay demo, I was really trying to figure out what was going on control-wise, because throughout their entire gameplay demo, every time you got to one of the bigger enemies, there was a prompt that would appear on screen, which was to push the right analog stick in one of 3 directions. And as far as I can interpret, and this is my biggest fear for this game, is that the combat is going to revolve around a series of QuickTime events for every battle you fight, and I have no interest in playing QuickTime Event the game.
Yeah, I know what you mean, actually. I think I've heard someone who played it describe it in a similar manner. Not quite as bad as a QuickTime Event, the game sort of thing, but yeah, it very much is based on which direction you're facing and the turn of your blade, for sure. And it kind of, on screen, looked quite complicated, but when you play it, not too much.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, if it is going to be just another third-person action game, like there's plenty of those out there, it comes out at a bad time for me, especially because I'm really excited to play Persona 5.
Oh, God, which we didn't even see at all at E3, but it's fine because it's coming out.
It's there, but it wasn't in the conference.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God, Evan, just please. I just want to play that game already. But yes.
The feels. Bringing out the feels.
I can't wait to bust out my cool school bag and my nice metal case and my Morgana plush. It's gonna be
Makes me so happy that it's almost here. Is it still coming out in Japan at the end of this year, though, right?
It's like September 17th.
Yeah,
September.
16th.
Fuckers. How dare they? Anyway, sorry, but it looks real good.
But yeah, For Honor, it looks too generic at this point for me to care. I don't know what, am I going to care about this main guy? Are we seeing, the big players? Because it's only one guy made it out of this one, and somebody's kind of telling the story of this battle as they go through.
Yeah, in the extended story trailer that we saw that had no place being at the conference at all. It was super long, and for all its length, it still didn't especially grab me. It's just like, yeah, okay. Whatever.
It'll be a game I Redbox overnight and played.
We'll see, yeah.
Apparently, that's my new thing, is that I picked up doing that for single-player games, because I just don't care anymore to, buy these and then play them for, because I have a lot of free time in my life with 0 responsibilities to do real-life things.
Yeah, I hate you.
And so I can totally rent a game on Redbox and do nothing but play that for 2 days and then take it back and be like, I spent $6 instead of $60. All right, I got the same experience. Cool. And there's cases where I will buy it, like Doom and stuff, where I like the game so much in the Redbox that I did buy it. But that is not going to be the case for everything.
I was going to ask, John, how would we do that in this country? Or
do you guys not have Redbox over there?
Well, we don't have Redbox, no, but we used to have...
Do you have GameFly? Can you GameFly it?
I don't think we have GameFly either, to be honest.
There are services you go online they're just so expensive. Like the problem is that with like when Blockbuster shut down very long ago now, there hasn't been a rental service in the UK for the most part, and so the rental market is it's just shot in terms of prices. There's no competition, and so it's just really expensive.
Yeah, free for all. Okay,
I guess I never really thought about that you guys don't.
Yeah,
have
that's
yeah, because we did tend to rely, as John said, on Blockbuster, and when that went, it just kind of left this big hole, and everyone's now it's like Cowboyville. They just don't give a fuck. Yeah,
well, if anything, you just piggyback off Kev. He'll buy it.
Oh, this is true. Yes, it's true.
So past that, we saw the weird mashup of Trials and Blood Dragon called Trials of the Blood Dragon. It's pretty obvious what it is just based on title. It's a Trials game. Blood Dragon, mid-80s action machismo and stupid nonsense. But it does have like legitimate gameplay in a way where it's not just, motorbikes and stuff doing flips and blowing up things. There's like kind of running around still in that same kind of 2D side scrolling.
It kind of has like a Shadow Complex feel, right? Like it's like
but without the cool actual Shadow Complex gameplay stuff.
Oh my god, Shadow Complex would not have been my first reference point at all. But did
you
play Trials?
I would have gone with Velocity 2X.
Did you play it? I think when it was out on the 360. I'm not sure if it's out now on Xbox One or not, but
yeah, I think it's out now. I played it. No, I just mean in terms of because there were those like those quick run and gun moments, and that's just one of the first games that came to my mind in terms of a side-scrolling
combat sections. That's true.
Yeah, the combat section.
I had completely forgotten
definitely,
that they had it in the trailer,
not saying that Trials is anything like Shadow Complex. No, that's nothing. No, it's like just like the Trials core game of like motorbikes and I guess trying to achieve the best time maybe because that wasn't really talked about, mixed in with the Blood Dragon aesthetic and the characters.
Don't crash.
But then there are those combat sections that are very Shadow Complex-y. So that's what I was saying. It's like this weird mashup of just like 2D side-scroller. It's just an amalgam of like everything 2D side-scroller. It's weird.
I think Sam had already bought it and he was quite enjoying it, but he did say it was extremely difficult. Really, 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 really hard. So
I guess I expect that because Blood Dragon was hard as hell.
So was Trials. That was just something that you would have this track and it would only be, if you got it right, about 20 seconds long to complete, but you just have to do it again and again and again and again. It was really hardcore, but fun. I'm not sure I have other mindset for it now, but yeah.
Yeah, like I saw it and I was like, cool. And I was like, not interested in playing this at all.
Right, yeah.
Also, the worst I've ever seen at E3 in terms of people coming onto stage.
But again, it just went on too long. Again, like the whole bit was for this one game that is not a huge deal, and I think it took about a quarter of an hour to get everyone out and then do this interview thing and have these lame jokes, and then we finally got the trailer, and it was just a little bit.
Not gonna lie, that trailer was like. It wasn't as bad as the Mighty No. 9 trailer with all that machismo and just like macho-ness, but it had
but it was
classic,
very obnoxious though, right?
Yeah, like 80s, like meathead.
Which is the point, but it was quite annoying.
Yeah, it made way more sense in this case. Mighty No. 9 is a game made for 2016, whereas these Blood Dragon games are firmly rooted in the past.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Super
so
cheesy,
it fit the aesthetic, yeah, definitely.
Past this, we saw the sequel to Grow Home, called Grow Up.
I don't think anyone really asked for this, but it's fine.
Surprisingly popular game.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was.
Really, really did like a Grow Home. But again, I wouldn't have thought a sequel would be in the works. It looks quite different, to be fair. So, as opposed to like one big stalk that you have to climb up, now it's based on like an entire planet. Yeah, but
you turn into a fucking airplane. That's tight.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a jet. That's cool.
But yeah, which kind of goes against a little bit of what the first game was about. Like, to my mind, it had some really good climbing mechanics, just really, really on the edge of your seat stuff. But now it doesn't matter because you can just fly around. It's great. So we'll see.
Yeah, looks interesting. I loved Grow Home, but I don't know if I needed a sequel. So we'll see. Looks cool.
After that, we saw another display for Watch Dogs 2, which had been announced before the show had started. I'm assuming just to save time.
Probably. Yeah. What do you guys think about this? Because there are quite a lot of things about it that I like in terms of who you're playing as, and the world seems a lot more alive and vibrant. When they showed off the extended demo of it, though, where you could just actually see someone playing in the game, I was like, this looks an awful lot like the first game, which I didn't like.
Yep.
So my expectations are tempered. I won't be getting it day one. I think I'll have to be told by someone, dude, it's really good. Honestly, please, you have to go play it, because otherwise it just looks the same. It looks shinier, and I'm sure it'll be a much better overall, because it's a sequel that everyone had some criticisms of, and they are going to address them, certainly. I just still didn't quite do it for me this time.
I'll just go quickly. I totally agree with Liam. I think I was on the podcast where we talked about the Watch Dogs 2 reveal, and what I spoke about them was, in terms of gameplay, I wanted them to allow your imagination to run wild, adopt some of the tenets of Just Cause, not go that crazy, but whereby, like in Just Cause, you have a grappling hook, it has 3 functions, but with those 3 functions, you can do like a million crazy things. It's all about your imagination running wild. And what they showed in that gameplay demo was just static. Like the door just opens. Like, why can't I blow the lock off the door and use a distraction? Or like, it just looked way too static to me, where it's like everything is like 1 or 2 functions, and it's the same boring gameplay that Watch Dogs 1 was played with.
And see, I think that's my problem right there. So first of all, what I really liked about this game is, aside from the protagonist, because, you know, he looks really cool, and I like San Francisco because it's really close to home for me, but I also like the fact that, I guess, I don't know, for me, and I don't want to be wrong, but for me, it looks like the game that I'm going to get. Like, I don't see a potential downgrade in graphics here. It looks exactly like what it will be, because it doesn't look that impressive to begin with. I mean, you know, textures look fine and everything, but it's not that impressive looking of a game. But the problem that I have is that mission that they showed was like the first mission in the first Watch Dogs, which is, you know, you have this really dark building that you infiltrate, you jump through some cameras, you have to collect this one thing, and then you kind of leave, which, you know, I guess every mission kind of divulges to that. But they don't, like John said, they don't showcase any of the newer powers or newer functions within the hacking. So yeah, there's no blowing off the lock of the door or just anything like that. It's just the same really basic stuff. And I don't know, I want more. I'm still excited, but that demo didn't, that's not a selling demo for sure.
As much as I'm kind of glad that they straight up showed the game as is and didn't kind of make the same mistake that they obviously did with the first game, infamously. However, if it's not interesting for me to watch, if I'm like checking out of this 5-minute demo and I'm seeing it for the first time and I'm still quite bored, I'm not quite sure I'm going to be able to play a whole game of it. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure it's going to be interesting. I don't think I'm going to check it out until someone else that I know and trust goes, yeah, it's fine. Again, like I said before.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll pick it up.
Yeah, I don't trust you though, so it's fine. It's fine.
What?
Ouch.
Come on, Dark Souls? Come on. For me, I think I'm, kind of the opposite of most of you. Jeremy's sort of in my camp, but I liked the first one quite a bit more than most people, I'd say, or at least the general consensus of the game was. I thought it was fun. I never got bored of the gameplay or anything. Like, obviously, Aiden was whatever and the story was whatever, but just playing it was fun.
That last mission was fucking bullshit, though.
And I don't even remember what happens, but and the mini games were fun, and it was a fun twist on gameplay that I'd seen in tons of other games for years. Sure. And for this one, I was like instantly like, fuck yeah! Like when we saw the first trailer, I was like, okay, I'm getting it already. Like when we pre-order this on Steam or whatever, can't wait. I don't have issues with Marcus not being a demolitions expert. He's like 22 from Oakland. He's not a demolitions expert. He's not gonna know how to blow a lock off a door. All these people are hackers, so
I don't know, man. He can do everything else. He's really good with a gun.
I meant like hack the lock so it explodes.
Anybody can shoot a gun, though. It's not that hard to shoot a gun. But like
can shoot a gun.
Making explosives is much different than pulling a trigger.
Right,
I didn't mean making explosives. I meant hacking it so that it
he can
overrides.
Throw these these stun grenades and hack them so that they stun people. But you're gonna tell me he can't
Kung Fu Master as well. That's
blow
quite an achievement.
I love his melee weapon.
Hey,
yeah,
what about
really
that
cool.
3D printer, right? And he can't blow a lock off a door, but he can, I guess, with his buddies, have a 3D printer make a gun for him, and then anyway.
How do you make a 3D printer make something that explodes?
It can happen.
Okay.
Just think before you say anything. God.
No, you got to think outside the box.
Yeah, you got to just think. Period.
So I'm really excited for this game. Like, I thought the demo was good. I'm like, yep, this looks like a game that
I want it to be good for you, for
it's
sure.
It's familiar enough that, I can day one jump in and, like, pretty much have a grasp of how everything works, except for, the obvious changes to whatever they're doing. And yeah, they're not going to show you, like, all the cool shit. There's going to be that gradual ramp up of gathering resources and learning how to do different things. Like, they're not going to be like, all right, look, we just 3D printed a tank, and then he just rolls through San Francisco, blows down a skyscraper.
That would be hella funny.
It showed us an ability that he has towards the end of the game where he can hack, like, huge number...
Like an entire, like, park full
a mass
of people.
hack of kind of people, yeah. But they kind of showed him doing it to a bunch of just people on the street, and they're just going about their day, they're fine, they're all happy, and then he...
just fucks everything up.
all of their phones, like, start going kind of weird, and they're like, oh, what's going on? It's like, he's just a massive dick, really. He's just, like, a really
That's what I loved about it, too. Like, he's fucking a punk kid in DedSec there. There's, like, fuck the establishment, Rage Against the Machine, Mr. Robot stuff.
It's just
like,
rude.
I was like, fuck yeah. It just looks so cool. And maybe because
Very
Mr. Robot was
un-British.
so dope. And I
was
like
gonna
that show
say,
a lot.
is it because of that show as well? Which I haven't seen, but I really
It's
do want to
really
see
good.
it.
Yeah, I've heard it's
Exactly.
really good. I've heard
And,
it's
from
very
what
good.
I think I have seen the first episode though, and it has got very strong overtones of that in the trailers that I've seen for sure.
It gets even
of the game,
crazier in the show too. Oh. But I mean, yeah, like that. There is that weird surge right now of as we get more technological, and then there's the hacker groups that are doing shit, and then there's these TV shows that are coming out about hackers and all that jazz.
Oh yeah, its core, it's got some really cool ideas that are entirely relevant right now. Again, like, I kind of want it to be good, because, yeah, the first game had it all on paper, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt in my mind that this game is good. Like, I don't think it will be a letdown.
No,
at least
I think,
for most people.
I think this one, because it seems like, and not to spend too much time on this, but I honestly believe that Ubisoft, at least this team of Ubisoft, listened to the fans and kind of addressed everything that was wrong. So I have faith in this one for sure.
Well, and people never bring up that Ubisoft, like, one of the best developers around. They make, like, for the most part, constantly awesome games.
They do.
Minus Assassin's Creed 3.
They do. I just don't personally really dig their open worlds. Like, I never really have done. Like, I don't know. I think I've talked about this before in other shows, so I won't go into it too much, but they often are really forgettable and, like, almost too big, almost too much stuff to do. But we'll see. We'll see.
On the flip side of that, I love Ubisoft games where it's that formula of, hey, here's 40 hours and here's tons of stuff to do in this open world. Like, I play all the Assassin's Creed.
It's all shite, though. It's all nonsense.
I don't think it is. I don't. I love it. Like, I'm one of the few people genuinely frustrated and annoyed that we're not getting Assassin's Creed this year, because I love that idea of,
oh, really?
here's a historical location. Yeah, here's a historical location. Go explore and just, like, collectibles and just, like, side missions, and, like, I want Assassin's Creed to have a good story, but at the same time, I just don't care. Like, just give me a historical location, let me go explore, kill some guys.
You want a checklist, essentially. You want a nice big checklist. I mean,
yes,
for certain type of people, I totally get that, actually. It's that thing of, like, it's got a whole bunch of tasks that you can get done in an evening. I can go off and get this treasure, I can go and kind of find this thing, and I totally get that. It just, to me, is super boring.
But then Watch Dogs 2 isn't speaking to me. So, like, this is a game that should be right up my alley.
Yeah.
It is that exact formula, and I could not be less interested in this game.
Interesting.
I think you're just too far out of our culture where it makes sense. You damn foreigners not understanding.
It's got nothing to do with that, but whatever. It's got fuck all to do with that, to be honest. But sorry, I don't get down with the kids.
You don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't understand. You don't understand.
But, and, like, for me, like, I know I'm fine with Assassin's Creed taking a break. I don't really care, because the last couple have been... Syndicate was good, but it was not great. So I'm happy to see them take a break and focus on other things, maybe come back next year. And I'm hoping maybe they let some of the parkour from this game kind of trickle into Assassin's Creed, because it looks really cool in this game and, like, really fluid and pretty interesting.
Just talking about the somersault that he did, I think that's pretty much what you're talking about here.
Dude, yeah,
don't deny that it's not cool.
It did look cool.
Flips.
It did look cool.
You gotta have the flips. It's about time we have some fucking flips in a parkour game. It's about time. I'm stoked.
No, but
happy.
That's the thing, is that it looks fun. Like I brought up something else on the last part 1 of this where it was Dead Rising, where Sam was saying, Dead Rising, they never really have like changed a lot of stuff. And granted, he didn't play a lot of 3 and stuff did change for that. But he's talking about how, it's the same build stuff and you're doing this. And like, to me, it's just a really fun game. Like, and they've always been fun and they will continue to be fun.
And that's all you sometimes need, right?
Yeah.
All this, yeah, exactly. If you just kind of be given all the tools and just this space and just have fun. Yeah, exactly.
And so that's exactly what I expect to happen in like the mid game of this, when you kind of hit a plateau of like, we have a lot of resources and you got, all your new powers or gear or whatever it seems to be. Then it just looks like a fun game. Like it has this weird, because he is part of DedSec and it's a group of people, and it looks like kind of mildly social, and there's different characters, and they're just, they do have some sort of mission of bring down all these corrupt officials and blah blah blah, these companies that are ruining everything. But at the same time, they're punk kids in San Francisco with unlimited resources to steal everybody's money or do this and go into a park and shut off everything.
Absolute dicks to everyone, yes.
Pull up those car pylons and just stop a guy in the middle of the road for no reason. Like, it just looks like fun, so...
You know what it is? I'm glad they have leaned towards that direction, because obviously it is meant to be cheeky, and you, as a player, you do things that are stupid, and you play pranks on people, and so to have characters or to, be a part of a group that is all about that sort of anarchy, as opposed to Aiden Pierce, which was just...
He's just like, it was a revenge
black
game.
hole of horribleness.
Yeah. He was just like a revenge dude who just happened to be good at hacking for some reason.
Wannabe Batman, basically.
Well, he wasn't even that good at hacking. He had a phone. I just didn't ever buy him as a hacker. Like, as a guy to go around and hit people a lot. Yeah, sure, that's fine. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So it just looks like a fun game, and I'm really excited too. I don't even, they don't need to show me another trailer. I will get the game. You don't need to be like, look, and now
you kind of know what it's all about already, demo. Right? Yeah, exactly. Oh, when's it out again? Sorry, I've completely forgotten.
November 15th? Yeah.
Approximately 5 months.
Pretty soon, then. Well, not pretty soon.
It's looking good. It's for sure looking good.
So yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. Moving on, the last game that Ubisoft showed was Steep, which is...
It's looking cool.
It's like a semi-open world. Like, you can't go, from one end to the other, obviously, because there's mountains. That makes it real tough.
There's damn mountains.
Fucking Earth. Just in the way.
It's a mountain range. You can do base jumping or wingsuiting, skiing, snowboarding, probably snowmobiling, drinking lots of hot cocoa in the lodge.
Running into church bells.
I really hope that there's like a lodge somewhere you just hang out in. And it's, meant to be this... kind of social, but like a time trial. You can rack up scores, challenge your friends, make like a weird course thing and say like, I did this crazy thing off this crazy ass rock, and now, can you do that shit too? And then you shoot the challenge to your friends. Yeah. And then you can like go back and see that last run and slow it down, play it in slow-mo, look at all the different camera angles, switch from people that were in the area, watch a dude hit a tree and stuff like that. It looks really interesting.
It's pretty much Point Break the game, I think.
It's not my kind of game. I'll just say that right off the bat. It's not a game that I'm going to get, but I enjoyed the experience of seeing it on stage, because again, it was completely different from any other game that they had on the stage, and it seemed to me really smartly put together with the audience that they're kind of going for, the kind of people who are going to do a stunt, then they're going to share it, then they're going to put it up on a YouTube, and every aspect of that game seemed to be kind of geared towards that. I have done something really cool. Look at it, and I haven't seen that type of game for a while. I was a big fan of Cool Borders and SSX.
I was just about to say.
Those were the days.
This is exactly. marketed really at the extreme sports fanatics. Because we got that Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5, which was hot trash. And then previous Tony Hawk Pro Skater games were good, and then there was the Skate franchise, which kind of died out after 3, I guess. Weirdly,
yeah, I think so.
And then we had SSX, but I don't even remember what the last one was. It's backwards compatible now. It's just SSX in 2012. Yeah. So I think it's kind of needed, since we haven't had one in a while. So it's fun. It's nice. It's exciting. It looks cool for sure. Beautiful too.
Yeah, I think it's just, haven't seen a snowboarding game in a long time, so this one looks interesting enough that it might be good. So that was the end of Ubisoft, and they stuck around and did whatever they were going to do afterwards. And that was a really long show. That was a long-ass fucking briefing.
Yeah, it was supposed to be an hour, but I think it ran
I'm
almost
so
3.
sorry.
No, it was like an hour 40, maybe 2.
Doesn't sound right. Anyway.
Okay.
It definitely wasn't 3 hours, Jeremy.
And man,
nowhere near
it for
3
sure,
hours.
it for sure felt like 3 hours. For sure.
Not even close.
Guess I'm just crazy.
So then Sony came out, and they opened on the new God of War game, which is just God of War. As the rumors have come true, and basically everything you've ever seen at this show, which is why basically nothing was surprising, because we basically knew everything that was going to happen, that the new God of War game is set in Norse mythology this time. It is definitely, all you idiots out there who think this is not Kratos, it is definitely Kratos. He has all the same scars. He has a giant scar across his chest where he was stabbed with a giant sword from Zeus. And 2, it is definitely Kratos. He has a kid this time around, and an apparent wife, girlfriend, mother of his child somewhere, or she's dead, I'm not sure. It is very much different than the last games you've seen.
Definitely.
It is a very more closed-in, third-person, people keep saying kind of Last of Us perspective style game, which makes sense. And it's like kind of slower paced, more methodical. It looks to be a lot more like directly story-focused, in a way that, not everybody was super excited for, but some people were really excited for it. What'd you guys think?
It was definitely a good way to open, for sure. Really, really strong opening. I don't know if it's so much of a Last of Us perspective as it is a Rise perspective, because that camera is really close to Kratos, which definitely changes the gameplay, I think. I had a conversation with a friend, and my friend was like, oh, wow, the camera is closer, but that doesn't change the gameplay. And I was thinking, like, it kind of does, though, because camera perspective, scales the world, obviously. So I like the closer camera. That axe, too. Like, whatever the hell that is, that thing is kind of tight.
What's happening? Who's coughing? Is that you?
It is not me. I think it's John.
No,
John's dying.
No,
I'm not
it's
coughing.
No, it's Lexi. She's dying.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Tell her to shut
Get it
up,
together.
Jesus.
I
Get
know.
out of the room.
She get out of the room.
She's choking on something?
No, she has an upper respiratory infection, so she's dying.
Oh my god, getting sick. Ridiculous. Get an immune system.
Yeah, sorry about that, Lexi. We don't really mean it. We love you. We don't really love you, but don't die either.
Anyways, so
God of War, sorry, yeah.
Liam, what do you think about the new perspective and setting and all that?
You know what? I really liked the first 2 God of War games. They were identical
They're
to each other.
amazing.
Yeah, they were really, really good, and at the time, a real shot in the arm to that style of game. Really a fast pace, really brutal, just a lot of fun, to be honest. But then there was 3, then there was Ascension, and about 4 other games on the handheld stuff as well, and they all basically
2
the
other
same.
games.
Well, no,
Yeah,
there's
Chains of Olympus.
and the
Ghost of Sparta.
Ghost of
Yeah,
Sparta. That's
and
it.
that
6
games
was,
total.
Yeah.
6 games total, and they all pretty much play the same, right? And they are fun and everything like that, but I haven't actually cared about a God of War game for a while. I played 3, and that was like the apex of what they were kind of going for in terms of these big, huge, amazing battles with amazing scope of these huge monsters that you're fighting. They kind of went all out on that one, and I completely skipped Ascension. And so to me, I haven't cared about this series for a very, very long time. And to me, I'm really glad, actually, that it's just taken a whole different approach. I totally get why some people may be annoyed, but
Me?
to be honest, yeah, no, and like, I get that, but it... Shut
my
up,
God.
Lexi. Shut the fuck up.
Ouch.
Just some shade throwing.
It's a 4-person
Yeah,
show.
right. Just throwing some shade. Heavy
no,
shade.
joking.
You should throw some shade and some tea
Seriously,
or some
though.
shit. Jesus Christ.
Seriously, be quiet.
Just give her
no,
some
I mean,
English tea and crumpets, she'll be fine.
I will have to watch it again because I only caught the demo halfway through, and it seemed to have a really nice focus on Kratos being a dad and things like that. Instantly, from what I saw, Kratos seemed a lot more likable and just more of
An
a
actual
guy
person.
an actual person who wasn't always angry. He had some depth to him. In terms of the gameplay, it is completely different. I was kind of really shocked to have the camera so close to him. It kind of looked almost a bit like Dark Souls in terms of it being quite slow, just because you didn't really have to use too much skill in a God of War, really. You know, again, like, it just seemed completely different. So it would be something that I have to play, you know, but for the first time in years, I would want to play the next God of War game. So that's good, I guess.
Yeah, I was fine with it. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, I'm not playing this game, but it was kind of a little bit of a letdown to see that they had changed the gameplay pretty
substantially.
It is a massive overhaul in terms of what the series kind of was previously, which was like a super kick-ass, really large in scope, like third-person action game with
really camp as well. Like it was kind of fun, and it didn't take itself too seriously, and the tone of this game was completely different, you know, from what I've seen.
Yeah, and it feels almost out of character too. Like, the Kratos was like so fucking pissy, obviously, because people died and he accidentally killed them because he was misled by people. So he's just like, fuck it, I'm killing everybody. And that's what he did. He killed everybody. And then I was, you know, in my brain, or in what a lot of people were thinking, it's like, okay, if it turns out Kratos is just basically Deadpool and he can just kind of do whatever he wants. And he's like, I'm going for the Norse people now because, you know, maybe Thor has a cool hammer I want. So I'm going to go in there and just fuck all their shit up. Screw Valhalla, all that jazz. I was like, hell yeah, I'm on board for that. That sounds fucking great.
And that's the game I thought I was going to get, because obviously this isn't a surprise that they were doing a new God of War game, but it was the start of a huge stream of surprises from this conference in terms of, I didn't expect this at all. I thought, like you said, it was going to be a continuation kind of basically of the story. It would be the same gameplay, but just with a slightly different setup. Well, I mean, just, you've got the other 3 games, 6 games, I guess you can always, like, you have to admit that they are very similar to each other. There isn't much room for growth in
but I just was never tired of it. Like, they're still fun games, like I've said about a couple of games in this show. They were just fun. Like, they weren't trying to tell you that, you know, life's hard and that you need to really stick to your guns because sometimes things won't go your way. It's like, no, you know what, when life gets hard, fucking kill it. Like, just kill everything. Throw a sword at it, shoot it, blow it up, and he's just a real rage monster. And he just, like, there's some famous scenes about him just being a dick that people are like, oh, this game's disgusting. Where, like, some guy's fleeing for his life, and he's like, you're climbing along, like, the same ledge as him, and he's like, help, and then Kratos just grabs his head, just fucking blows it up on the wall.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And they're like, no, he just, innocent civilian, and then, you know, all the game people were like, well, that guy, you know, pledged to the gods who Kratos hates, so he's gonna kill him because he got in his way. Which I'm open to see where this goes. I'm not like, you know, like I said, I'm not writing it off. I'll probably still be there day one to play this game because I do like the franchise.
It just seems like such a kind of weird thing to do.
It's a big right turn, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fine that it is kind of growing up in a way where, you know, not that the first games were for kids because they're definitely not, but they were casual. Kind of like...
they were for the kid inside you, basically.
Exactly. There we go. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Like, hang out with your buddies on the couch, like, oh shit, that was crazy when you, like, rip, you know, somebody's eye out of their head and you're climbing up a giant colossus.
Oh, boobs! There's boobs as well.
Lots
Lovely.
of titties, yeah.
Yeah. And sex mini games. Always with the sex mini games.
Gotta get extra points, man. Like real life.
Jesus.
But it'll be weird to see. I want to know if they're going to tone down the scale, which will be a big letdown. Because they were so huge, those old games. Like, the opening of 3 is so insane and definitely still, like, stands out in my mind as, like, one of the most epic, huge openings I've seen in a game like that.
And then, what was it where you were fighting a Titan earlier? No, I don't think it was Titan, sorry. The guy with just the one eye. I forget his name.
The big Colossus who's in Mount Olympus.
Yes, and that's still amazing. Like, I'm sure if I
huge.
play the remaster now, it's
absolutely stunning. One finger is like enormous, like it fills an entire screen.
And it's just a really, really cool fight. But that's kind of it. How do you top that? How do you top that kind of scale?
Go bigger and better. 80 frames a second. 400p's. More Titans. 4 swinging blades now instead of 2. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. Like, I'm excited to see more from it. Like, this was a very brief, very short trailer of, like, they showed, like, oh, there is kind of some mysticism in it. There's a dragon that flies by at the end. A lot of people think Kratos is going to die within the first hour. Wouldn't surprise me. Because when they're doing stuff, it's the kid who gets XP points when he shoots the bow and stuff like that.
Oh, really? I hadn't noticed that at all.
Yeah, he's like, he's pointing. Kratos is pointing, you know, near the end when they get to the deer again. And he's like pointing, he's like, on my mark. And then it aims and you get to aim it. but he says like, go, and he shoots the arrow, and then you see points pop up on the screen. And Kratos didn't do anything. It was the kid who pulled the bow back. So a lot of people think he'll probably die early on. Wouldn't surprise me. And then there's like a time skip, and this kid, maybe Kratos gets killed by the gods, and then this is Kratos' son becomes Kratos.
His revenge story, yeah, exactly.
You know what? That sounds pretty awesome.
That actually, that sounds pretty good, actually.
So, you know what? That wouldn't surprise me at all, especially because you don't see, he references his mother, she's not shown in the trailer, she's probably dead, I would assume. So then he loses his other parent, he's like, fuck this, I'm going at you.
And then he's angry, he's like a really big emo, just like, the old Kratos. That sounds, yeah.
If this comes true, I will be excited that I called it.
Sold.
Anyways, John, did you have any feelings either way?
God of War is one of those games where it's like, I like them, but I don't love them. So I'll play it when it comes out, but this isn't the type of thing that I'm going to get excited about. It's going to be good. I'm going to play it, and that's about as far as it goes.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way, especially with the very large paradigm shift for this one. After that, probably the most disappointing game I saw at the show. I feel that some of us here are alone in that aspect as far as the kind of general consensus goes outside of us in this small room in LA, that I thought Days Gone, which is Sony Ben's game that we've been waiting to see for years and is a massive disappointment.
So disappointing.
God, and it looked fucking horrific. Not in like the cool horror way, in a bad game way.
It's so bizarre because obviously we have to play it. It could still be fun. Blah blah blah. We can't judge too quickly.
It just didn't look fun.
It just looked really uninspired.
It's a bad showing, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When I think it didn't help as well, they had a demo at the very end of this very cool show.
Yeah.
And then when we got to see it the second time, because the first time I was like, oh, it's fine, I guess.
Because there was no gameplay in it. You're like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, it's open world, and it's a bit like The Last of Us again.
It's Sons of Anarchy meets 28 weeks later.
Exactly. But when we saw it again the second time, I was like, this doesn't look very fun. But I think we'll just have to see. But yeah, I've been surprised at the swell of excitement
people
elsewhere.
Sound like best of the show.
Outside of Ground Punch.
Me?
Yeah. I saw so many other much cooler things, so just a lot more interesting. This is just like pastiche of other games that were, I think,
it already felt
a lot
old.
better. It felt very old. Yeah, exactly. Again, like I would have to wait. I do want to play it, not like straight away. I do want to see whether
when Kevin buys it.
Yeah, I'll let Kevin buy it, then I'll play it. I'm not too sure what else to say about it, really. It's just like, a demo of it just...
On a gameplay level, it looks so one-dimensional. It's just like tons of zombies running towards you, either run or shoot an endless supply of bullets at them. And the zombie genre is so... And I can't believe we have a zombie genre, that's a whole other matter. But the zombie genre is so flooded with things that you see games coming out that do zombies and they have to do something different. Last of Us did something different with it. Walking Dead, the Telltale games did something different with it. Dead Rising is doing the thing it's doing before... But, like, they all have their own take on it, and this, to me, like, the take on this is just like, oh, just shoot, and then shoot,
I guess
and then shoot.
I guess it's like open world. That seems to be like they kept on saying that, but, like, every fucking game is now
that means
world.
Nothing anymore.
It doesn't mean anything now, and, like, I don't know what its hook is. Like, the
it's
story...
It's almost become negative in a way sometimes, when they say open world, and then it's like, really, this is your open world? There's trees. And trees everywhere? Trees? Okay.
Yeah, I would have to see it again, like, because I
was just a really bad showing. Like maybe it's better on the backside when they change some stuff or they show why I should give a shit about anything that was going on there. But just for showing it, when they started off with not a surprise, but with a game that looked really interesting and like cool and a little bit different than what we'd seen from that series before, and then going directly into what people wanted to know what Sony Ben was doing for years.
Yep.
And then they go, It's Days Gone, Sons of Anarchy, Star Killers out there, 28 weeks later shooting bullets. And I was like, this looks fucking awful.
So disappointing. I didn't know what to expect from them, to be fair. Like, I hadn't properly...
This had leaked beforehand that this was what they were doing.
I didn't know, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, it's a biker zombie game. And I was like, that could be cool. And then I saw this and I was like, I'm so wrong.
Sony Bend was such the wild card because the game they made before this was a Vita game. In terms of PS4 development, we didn't know... Yeah, it was a really good video game. In terms of PS4 development, we didn't know what they were going to do. So they were really it was really exciting at the thought that, well, they can now go and do anything. And then what they show is the most generic game I've ever seen.
Why, like... If you were Sony and you were in charge of investing in certain IPs, why would you make something that looks very similar to The Last of Us in terms of its setting and about zombies? Like, oh, just stay away. Oh, I mean, obviously this game isn't The Last of Us, like, blah, blah, blah. It's all very surface level observations that we're making here, but it's still in that same realm, you know, and like, just do something completely different, please. Like, there just wasn't a need for this, you know? I don't know. It's just very strange.
Yeah, it just felt like a massive letdown that we waited so long to see what these guys were doing, and blech.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about it, to be honest, because I just wasn't excited about it, and in fact, when it was on the second time, I just did something else entirely. I was just like, I don't even want to watch the demo too much, so I'm not an expert on it, certainly. I just know that I was bored. So, you know.
Up next, some final confirmation on the status of The Last Guardian. It is indeed coming out October 16th. I have the collector's edition pre-ordered.
Oh, do you? Course. Nice one.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I want that statue. Actually, because I went to bed, I had stayed up way too late this day to watch this. I had work at midnight. I was watching this at 6.
That's right.
Fuck
me.
Yeah. I slept like from 8 to 11, and then I woke up and Kev had messaged me the link for the special edition. I was like, cool.
Bless
hit
him,
that.
because he knows you so well. Yeah.
So I pre-ordered that. I know a lot of people are still on the fence because this has just had the most rocky development cycle over my entire life almost.
I'm not excited for it necessarily, but I am so gonna play it. And yeah, I don't get the hate for it either, because there has been a huge backlash against it, which is fine, which is completely understandable. It is ridiculous, utterly ridiculous that it's taken this long. And it isn't like even throughout the 10 years or so that it's been making it, I don't think it went through a period of it being stopped or anything. It's not like it's a projected kind of thing. It was always being worked on in some form or another. It's just for whatever dumb reason it took ages. But I think it looks cool still, you know? And the last 2 games that they made, I love to death. So, yeah.
That is the thing, too, is that not everyone was a huge fan of Eco.
That's true.
They're like, Eco, that was kind of lame, and then they didn't really.
I kind of like that more, actually, to be honest. I would rather play Eco again. I don't know why.
Shadows of the Colossus?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh my god. Show's over. Fuck this. I'm out.
I loved Eco, man. I don't know what to say.
I do, too. I mean, but Shadows of the Colossus is the monumental game
great.
For me.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't even need to see a trailer. I just wanted them to tell me when it was coming so I could get ready emotionally.
I think they did the right thing. You just saw a few moments of it. They didn't show off.
There's more than one bird dog.
Oh, really? Is there?
Yeah, in the trailer, there's more than one. Yeah.
I didn't catch that at all, yeah. But kind of what I mean is that it was over and done with. They didn't spend time on it. It was like, it's coming this year.
2.5 minutes, boom, thing, bye.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's kind of all you need.
Get out. Yeah.
As to how well it'll do, I mean, again, I don't really care because
I'll be there. What's up?
Who knows?
I don't know. It could be like a hit, or it could just and just like kind of go right under the rug.
Just gotta wait for everyone to play it, and I think it's a word of mouth type thing.
This will very much be like, hey, have you played The Last Guardian? No, I didn't play The Last Guardian. You gotta play The Last Guardian. Like that, it'll be that game where it's either gonna come out and be like no one's talking about it, and then people start talking about it, and then it's just this giant barrel roll of tons of people all of a sudden like, holy shit, you know, the wait was worth it. They did make a game that was worth playing instead of this hot piece of garbage some people thought we were going to get.
Because I read this really in-depth thing about it in Edge magazine this month about the AI of the bird dog thing, and it looks and sounds so complicated and so, you know, insane that he has all these different responses to various situations. It does sound cool, you know, but also I wonder if when it comes out, because the whole idea of the game is that you're not in control of it. It isn't like you press a button and he will do what you want. He's, you know, an independent animal. He's a wild animal. And I can just see people going, why isn't he doing what I want him to do? It isn't like Primal or something where you had a control of a tiger and he just did what he did straight away, instantly. It's a lot more...
Trico, Bird Dog, whatever, already feels like he has, like,
he's
personality.
Nuanced. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Which is so what I want from this.
But I can see people kind of seeing that as a bad thing, as a thing that is frustrating. Like, oh, you know, he's dumb, he isn't quite doing what I want him to do. But we'll see. And again, I don't really care about those people anyway, so, yeah.
Yeah, if this game comes out and it is what I want, it'll be, like, the way Shadow of the Colossus was this crazy, monumental moment for me.
And they kind of need
very excited.
A big game for me to play as well at the end of the year, because they haven't really got anything else now.
Yep, I've got some space on the back side of my wrist for a tattoo for this next Eco game.
The only first-party Sony game to not get delayed is The Last Guardian, which got delayed for 9 years.
I mean, technically, I guess it would be first party for the most part.
I keep counting as first party just because Japan Studio is involved. Or Studio
I
Japan.
mean, it is Team Eco that made the game, though. I mean, they probably gave them the resources because the 200 people that work at Team Eco were going to take 47 years to make this. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it still is. It's totally fine to count it as that. It's on PS4. It's only on PS4. Yeah, it's fine.
In terms of the game, this isn't something that I'm confident to purchase day one. I definitely need someone to turn around and say this is a good game or this is a bad game.
I won't be shutting up about it, so you're going to hear a lot about it.
Either way.
At the same time, like what you're talking about with the fact that Bird Dog isn't going to control in like a normal way, that makes me really excited for the game, because what this game needs to be is it can't just be a platformer, it can't just have a good narrative. It has to have something to it that is unique that we've never seen in games before. And I think having an AI companion that you're dependent on to progress through the game, but whereby that AI dependent isn't necessarily reliant on doing everything as you want it 100% of the time, I think that is the thing that's going to make this game unique. And it may not appeal to everyone. People may be like, oh, well, this game sucks because, you know, it doesn't have finite controls or whatever. So like that potentially means it's got a niche audience, but I feel like for that niche audience, this is going to be potentially one of the best games they've ever played. And like Evan, they won't shut up about it.
You know what they said that in the Edge article that I was reading, a journalist described it as, you know, with Alien Isolation and how good the AI was in that game for the alien, but it was hard to tell and it was hard to appreciate because it was your enemy, basically.
And it was like in the shadows, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It is like that, or as good as that, or as impressive as that alien was, but he is the good guy, and he's a
giant bird dog.
Exactly, who is adorable looking, and I don't know, man. I think the more I talk about it and the more I kind of begin to read about it, it's
you're
like
kind of on. You're like, wait, you're like, maybe I am excited for this game.
Yeah, exactly. I so really want it to be good, but again,
you should look up that special edition and grab one while you can, because that bird dog statue is fucking cool.
I don't care about that shit. I'm not a child. So yeah.
Also,
I have way too many special editions on pre-order right now.
To be fair, a bird dog that would look cool on the shelf. Actually,
and it's like more so it's like him like nested down, and it says like Last Guardian on this little stone, and he's like nested down, just chilling.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Really cool. That's actually pretty sweet.
Yeah. Just a quick point in terms of how this game's going to perform sales-wise. I think this game may actually be a huge hit in the first couple of weeks, just in the sense of this is a game with so much mystery around it that I feel like people are going to want to go out and buy it just so that they can have something to say about it, whether for good or for bad.
Yeah, it has been this game that has floated in a shroud of like disappointment and equal levels of intrigue for 11 years. Like,
yeah.
It has been around for my entire adult life.
Even with Shadow of the Colossus as well. When was that? 2005?
October 22nd, 2005.
2005. That did, at least in the UK, that was surprisingly a really good seller, even at the time. And I know it's a completely different market now and blah, blah, blah. Everything has changed. But that game didn't get much marketing at the time. It was just kind of shoved out. And it kind of sold really, really well. Obviously, it is completely different now, but I just mean, I can be surprised by people sometimes, you know. So just because it isn't what I think could be sold, maybe, hopefully, I'm wrong.
And it was October 18th. I was 3 days ahead, my bad.
Oh, yeah.
I said it and I was like, that doesn't sound right. And then I checked it again.
You're not a real fan, Evan. Get out.
I'm pretty sure it's because it was the collection that came out on September 22nd, 2011. Anyways, yeah, it was just that, you know, Shadows of the Colossus was such a crazy game. I still think, you know, for the most part, people look back really fondly on that game. Yeah, if this does, like, what that game did for the weird open world, like, giant bosses, like Shadows of the Colossus did, then, you know, I just really can't wait to see what happens. Moving on. We got to see another trailer for Horizon Zero Dawn. I feel like we don't really need to talk about it that much. Everybody's interested in this game. Cool.
Yeah, what I liked about this, though, was that they actually showed how the game works. Like, we've seen combat, we've seen some really cool...
It's hashtag Robot Far Cry.
Story trailers, yeah, exactly. But I hadn't actually got an idea of how the open world worked. When, you know, it's an RPG, how is that going to actually work when you're speaking to people and they kind of
dialogue
had mentioned... Yeah, which actually didn't look too impressive in the
game,
to
it
be
was
honest.
awful. I was like, no, please, why? I'm not a huge fan of dialogue trees anymore because, for the most part, there's like one direction you can go and the rest are shit. or they just don't matter at all. Like The Witcher is an exception where I would ask questions because it was all written really well, but this did not look that way.
But it was hard to tell because it's just some guy that you meet in the open world and, you know, kind of blah, blah. So he's
just
not
like, he was just running like, oh no, death. And she's like,
exactly.
I don't run from death. And I was like, ugh.
He's one of those NPC characters that haven't been especially done very well. He is just out there in the open world. So when he spoke and when he said his lines, he just looked very, you know, compared to everything else in that game, which is stunningly gorgeous, you know, he did stand out. But the whole demo was great. I just kind of want to play it already. And
yeah, I'm tired of seeing it now.
I don't want to see any more of it either. Like, we've seen a really good chunk of that area of the world. I'm kind of done now. I am sold. You know what I mean? So
there's not. I can't think of one person that was like, that didn't look fun.
That looks really boring. You know, like
everybody wants to play the game, but it's still not here. We just have to wait. Like, I feel like, you know, they gave a release date, right?
The 1st of March, I believe.
Yeah, March 2017.
1st of March is EU, 3rd of March is UK, 28th of February is US.
Alright, so we get it a little bit later. But yeah, that's
great release date.
That'll be around here very, very soon. Like, in terms of this year going by so very fast, it will be here soon.
After that, Quantic Dream. Quantic Dream.
I always think it's the other one, yeah.
Well, my phone autocorrects to Quantum anytime I type it out.
That's right, yeah.
So, developers of basically anything that has choices or really slow stuff, and lots of consequences.
Choices and slow stuff. Well,
I mean,
it's true.
They're not bad games. That sounded negative, but when you see a Quantic Dream game, you say, "Oh, there's a Quantic Dream game." Yeah, I get it. And this is definitely one of those. It is kind of a futuristic sort of Detroit, surprise, where you play as kind of a cyborg investigator, or like, at least in the scenario they showed here, he was like, "What?" There's a word where you go in when they need you to do stuff, but I don't know what the word is.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's
private
not like
investigator.
We're on a podcast or anything.
He's like a negotiator.
Yes. Yeah.
So he goes in and some guy's like, I'm going to kill myself and this girl. And then he like, it runs through kind of a short little sizzle thing of like all the outcomes and all the choices and all the information you need to gather to go up to it. And I was like, okay, it's a Quantic Dream game. And I was not interested in the slightest.
It's for me, I really quite enjoyed Heavy Rain and even a game that came before it, Fahrenheit. With,
that is one of the most insane games ever made.
It was great. That had
it's so
a
crazy.
really good first half and then it went really bizarre
in
the second half. Anyway. But, you know, the one that they made recently, Beyond Two Souls, I despise. Really didn't like that game. It was so confusing.
Just a messy game.
So I don't trust anything that they show until I actually play the game, because what they show here could be, obviously each scene in any of their games is very different and special, and you're doing something that you won't be doing in, you know, the next scene after that and, you know, one after that, in terms of, you know, it's obviously very story focused, and that comes first and foremost. I was surprised to see that you're not just playing as Kara, which I thought that, you know, was going to be the case. So it sounds like, just like with Heavy Rain, you've got quite a lot of different characters to choose and I guess die as well, so you get quite a lot of endings. I don't know what to feel or to think, because I really didn't like that last game. Like, I was so disappointed. They had that bit where you were a homeless person, which I thought was fantastic, but apart from that, it was just trash. So yeah, anyway, I don't know how to think or feel about it. It looked okay. We will see.
Yeah, it's hard to show these games that makes them look really interesting. You're like, I get it, it's a Quantic Dream game. You know, it's probably going to be decent in the very least, and it might be really good. But like, showing these games is not really great, because it is about playing and seeing how things go. When you're like, I slipped up, oh god, everything's, you know, comes tumbling down on top of me. And showing that on stage, it just doesn't really work out. Like, that's why I'm not surprised we didn't see a demo, because it's just boring as fuck to watch.
This demo just completely killed all interest I have in this game.
It sounded semi-interesting, and then we got to it and it was like, yep, alright, more of this.
When they showed it at Paris Games Week, I was so on board, because what they talked about in Paris Games Week was the fact that, you know, it's about this AI who becomes sentient, and in that, you know, demo, Kara's talking about, you know, I wanted to feel like the wind on my face, I wanted to see places, you know, I wanted to interact with people. And I thought Detroit was, you know, it's called Detroit Become Human. I thought it was going to be a game about AIs and like asking questions about like, who am I? am I alive? Are artificial thoughts, like, are they the same as real thoughts? And sort of go down a more sort of philosophical, existential route in terms of the narrative. And then when it's like, oh, it's private investigator game.
Again.
Make choices and see who lives and who dies. I'm just like, that's not what I wanted from this game. And so I'm just so disappointed. I'm like, they had something so unique and so special. And now it's like, if you want to go play like a murder mystery game, go play like what's that Japanese franchise that's really good? My mind's blanking.
I don't know where we're going.
I think I know the one, the court case one, the one where you're
Ace Attorney.
Ace Attorney was where kind of that's where kind of my mind went straight away. Ace Attorney. So very.
I
different.
don't think that's what he means.
No, it's not. It's not at all.
Never mind.
Yeah.
All I'm saying
Ace
is,
Attorney. He was totally talking about it. Okay.
I was gonna say Deadly Premonition too, but I wasn't that sure that was right.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But yeah, no, I've never think I've gone into E3 before and watched footage for a game and go like, I've gone from being this is one of my most anticipated games to being like, wow, I'm just depressed now and want to cry.
The world has come crashing down upon me, much like the choices you'll make in Detroit Become Human.
Well, you know, when they had the girl die at first, because obviously it's a hostage situation, and, you know, the man has got this kind of very young girl, and then they fall off the building, and she dies. I thought, damn, this game has some balls. And then, of course, because it's a choice-based game, obviously you can
prevent the tragedy.
So I was like, oh, okay, that's not quite as cool as I thought it was going to be. I don't know. I've said it again before. I just don't know what to expect. I try not to get too excited about any of these games, to be honest, because what we see at E3 very often it's not a lie, but it's not also representative.
They're showing the good portions to sell. Yeah. They're selling products. Like it's looking at a McDonald's ad, and then like the burger it's still fine, but it doesn't look the same.
Even if it's a demo though, or a bad trailer, that could just be a bad demo or a bad trailer.
Except for Days Gone, which just looks like a bad game.
But that's it. Yeah, exactly. There are exceptions, but with this, it just didn't really speak to me for sure. But we will see.
For me, real quick before we move on, is that these games are fun and they have kind of interesting ideas in that they are so different, but all of them eventually kind of come to a through line for the most part. That's why everyone wouldn't shut up about Heavy Rain, and I played it and I was like, that was fine. But like you could do a lot of things would happen, and then there's a through line at the end where you're like, okay, this is the story. And so they kind of, at some point, the choices you make, while they matter in setting it up, the outcome is usually semi the same.
And it's also, I think, a series of games that know it's smart and are very smug about that sometimes. It's very up its ass in terms.
They're also just not fun to play. It's interactive.
And not written especially well, though, as well. That's the thing. They have some really nice moments, but at their core, sometimes they're just trash. Like, if you watched a movie of this game, which it isn't the experience of playing them at all, it is a game. But if you were to watch just a straight up a movie version of it, you'd be like, that was terrible. That was awful. All the characters were dead and flat, and the dialogue was just, it hurt my ears. But because it's a game, it's fine, whatever. But it isn't half as smart or as good as it thinks it is.
So these next couple we're going to rattle off real fast because who gives a shit. Resident Evil 7 is a game that is happening and it is fully VR compatible. I'm not sold on Resident Evil because they have a bad track record. Calling it 7 I think is a really bad idea because it doesn't look like any fucking Resident Evil game we've seen in a very long time, if ever. I think it's a bad idea to say Resident Evil 7 because it feels like it's a continuation of a series. Resident Evil would have been better. Just Biohazard. I haven't played the demo of it. I have it on my hard drive. I'm going to play it probably tomorrow morning now. Is the whole game like this then? Is it the whole thing? Is it first person? Fully VR compatible, so you can play the entirety in a full VR like.
So the fact that it's a VR thing does give me pause. I would kind of be happier if it didn't have any of that in it involved, because then I would know it was up to a certain standard and of a certain length. Like everything about
it's bandwagon on the first person horror thing.
Yeah, there's a big part of me that doesn't think this is going to be a true kind of big meaty game. But again, I haven't played the demo, and Kevin has played it, for example. He isn't on the show today, obviously, but he really enjoyed it. So, we'll see. Hopefully it's good. But it did need it, though, right? Because for a very long time... I just don't think this is
the direction I wanted to go.
It wouldn't have been kind of my first choice, no. It didn't necessarily have to be. And the thing is, though, it's so very much like PT, and just the way it was announced.
It's like thievery.
It had a teaser of it that you can play. And now, right now, it's Capcom seeing that and going, I want a piece of that. I want a piece of that pie. and it seems a bit like it doesn't have its own identity anymore. A bit like with...
Where Resident Evil 6 was, too. It's like an identity crisis.
Yeah, they don't seem to know what to do with this series at
They
all.
they don't know what they're doing with anything. That's the problem.
The thing is, 4 was a genuinely great game, and then they have shown again and again that they don't understand why that game was great. They just don't get it at all. So
they're still fumbling with this ball that they cannot pick up.
And now it's a first, but like I don't understand. Based on what I saw of the trailer and what I'm going to play, hopefully tomorrow, I don't see how you would incorporate any of the normal stuff that you would have in a Resident Evil game, combat and the zombies, and I don't know.
Yeah, and if it's a first-person VR game, is this going to be a soulless husk that you're supposed to imprint your own persona on? Is this not going to be a character thing? And then what the fuck is the story? Do I even give a shit? Is it just like a serial killer in a house? Is this a full game? Is this a 4-hour game?
It looked like a haunted house, just like I've played in any of these other...
It looked like another VR demo bullshit game.
Yeah, exactly. John, we've been talking for ages now.
I also said I was going to do this briefly, and it did not happen. So.
No, but it is a big game, and it should be a big game, and it should be talked about. It's such a weird thing.
Thanks, Capcom, for continually fucking everything up, except for Dead Rising. You're doing okay with that.
My opinion is I hate horror. I hate this game. Simple as.
Yeah, we talked about this last time.
We can move on. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
After this is a slew of 1 or 2 interesting VR games, and then a bunch of super uninteresting VR games that I don't know why anyone would say, like, yeah, I need a PSVR to play this X-Wing mission.
It's such a mess, right, of things that look obviously trash.
It's also stuffed in the middle of their conference, and then they went back to normal games. It was just a messy, I didn't understand it. They show Farpoint, which genuinely looked almost interesting enough that I was like, huh. It gave me pause on whether or not I was on board.
Just a quick point on Farpoint. So Sony are going to be releasing a PSVR aim controller. If you've looked at this thing, it looks like
some kids are
a piece of trash.
Out to school.
It promises 1-to-1 precision for virtual shooters. Now, I don't believe any of this.
Nope.
That said, the Move isn't going to be the best interface for shooters.
It's also the PS
for
camera
any VR.
kind of sucks.
Yep. So they need a different control interface. I accept that. But looking at the PSR VR aim controller, whatever they're calling it, it's just... this is my biggest fear for PSVR is not the headset. It's the fact that the control inputs, unless you're using a DualShock 4, are just going to be terrible. But that's just something to consider if you were interested about this
I
game.
think that's totally
Look at
fair,
that controller.
too.
Isn't it weird though
totally
that there still isn't one single game that I'm like, oh, that looks super interesting. What was that one with the dinosaurs? Was it Crusoe?
Robinson's The Journey.
Robinson. That looked quite interesting.
But don't even know what this is.
I know it's fine. Yeah, it's showing off. But there's still not one thing that I'm completely 100% on board with, which is a problem.
To spend this cash is the thing.
To spend this cash, to have this experience, I would, I want to try it out for sure. The problem is that, it is too expensive. It's on the PS4, which I don't think will, just don't get
Please
VR.
Really take this with a grain of salt that the PS4 can handle this.
I really want this to be good. It's just, this is a whole big thing. I don't want to get into it too much right now, whatever, because I think you had it in the same breath in the last episode. But yeah, whatever.
So after this, they showed a Battlefront VR X-Wing mission. That looked like fucking garbage. It looked like this on rails, you were not in control of this thing. If you're flying X-Wing in first person, that sounds cool. This was not the case. We're going to transport you on a roller coaster with VR stuff. Is what it looked like.
I feel like you will control the X-Wing. It's just that's gonna... They wanted this to look good, so it was scripted where the pilot is piloting the X-Wing perfectly, and you are going to control it, but you're going to be all over the screen, and you're not going to have that level of precision.
Run into a wall.
It'd be so horrible when I'm controlling that thing.
So after this, they show Batman Arkham VR. Poor Rocksteady's still making these fucking Batman games.
They were done.
They literally showed nothing about this too, so you can't even say it looked interesting. They show a slow motion pan over the Batman cowl, and then the Joker's talking about how it's real hard to be Batman or something.
I can see this actually being quite good because of the first person stuff at the end of all of their games were kind of really cool and interesting. They have a really good understanding of perspective, but they didn't show anything. They really didn't show anything to get too excited about. Having said that, though, everyone who has been on the show floor since have said it's really, really good. I haven't kind of read too much about kind of what that involves, but I've just seen a couple of tweets here and there, kind of people who said that it was really good. But again, we'll see. I don't know. Or really care, to be honest.
And after that, they showed a really bad Final Fantasy VR thing too, where you think like Final Fantasy 15 VR, wow, that's gonna be cool. Nope, not gonna be cool. Sorry. You're gonna play as fucking what the hell is this guy's name?
Prompto, the perv,
Prompto.
Yep, he has a gun, and you're kind of doing the warp jump stuff that you can do in the game, but it's first person, you shoot a gun, and it looks really ineffective in anything. It just looked real bad. And then they show, like, it's cheeky too, and then he's in the game, and he's got the PSVR on, you're like, fuck off.
That trailer to me appealed to 13, 14, 15-year-old kids who want to watch pornography in VR, but like, this is a game they can ask their parents to buy me Final Fantasy 15 because I'm going to play the game, but all I want to do is
stare at Sid's tits, yeah.
Yeah, they did show that. I was like, come on.
And then she's in the car with him later, and she's on the side, and
it was like this weird road trip thing. I was like, the fuck?
Cheeky smile. I was just like, okay. And like, her chest has always been like, kind of weird thing that is a bit uncomfortable, but when you're doing it in VR as well, it's just like, okay, this is not for me. This is not.
If she's aware of you staring at her boobs, that's a different thing, though.
That's
like,
different. That's fine.
And she's like, come on. You're like, whoa.
If she likes that, and whatever, it's cool, man. But I don't think that's what they're going for though at all. So.
After this, they showed another boring Call of Duty trailer. Blah. This was like, I had not watched a trailer previous to this, and I saw this, and I was like, oh, it's Call of Duty. I get it. And they're like, it's in space. And I was like, well, not really. He's like going grappling and then magnetic booting on stuff, and it's the same as it would be on Earth, except there just happens to be the backdrop of stars.
I think the footage was really... I really like the footage they were showing, but the problem is that this is a Call of Duty game, and we know how scripted and how restricted this game is going to be. And looking at it, I was like, this is so open, and you can really play with your imagination, and it looked amazing, but it's just not going to deliver.
That's it, exactly.
So disappointing.
If we didn't know this was Call of Duty, if we didn't know that it was set in space, I would be so excited about this game. But because I know the conventions and the style and the rhythm of every Call of Duty game, they all play the same, and they all, like John said, incredibly scripted. I can't get excited about it. If this was some other game where the grappling hook looks really, really cool, I just know that in the game I'm only going to be able to use it in certain instances at X and Y times, and it's just hard to get excited. And also, why is it in space? Imperial, just why? What is going on? This used to be a joke. Like, it's going to go into space one day, and then actually they just don't know what else to do with this series. They're like, fuck it, kind of do it.
But it still feels like Call of Duty, though, because it's not like I'm in a spacesuit. Whoa! It's like I'm magnetic boots and I'm on a surface.
It should feel and look complete. I should be excited about this because this is what I always say. It's like I want it to be completely different. I don't want the same old thing all the time, and they're finally doing it. But all I can be, I just don't care. I'm not buying any one of their games ever again.
This was the thing where I had not seen a trailer for Call of Duty previously because I just didn't care immediately. And then this came up, and they don't show a title at front at first, and it blah blah. They're walking
intentionally so, I think.
Got to get the thing, and immediately I was, it's just Call of Duty. Like there was no doubt in my mind that it was Call of Duty, and it showed at the end, Call of Duty Infinite. I was like, oh, cool.
On Twitter or something, or even on our live blog, there was some confusion at first about what this game is. I was like, it's Call of Duty, man. It's you can just see it. You can see it straight away. Yeah, it's just the way it runs and moves and whatever, and the style of it is.
On the live blog, it was like, is this Call of Duty? Is it not Call of Duty? Also, like, in terms of the way Sony presented this, everyone was like, is this a VR game? Like, our live blog was just like hilarious to read everyone's different theories. So messy.
I'm not sure if we've spoken about this before, actually, but I did like their showing in terms of the games that they shown. I don't think it was a particularly good conference though, because it was just a trailer reel, a constant trailer reel of stuff coming up.
Literally no information.
There was no point in them even being on stage. Andrew fucking House took about half an hour to get on stage. I think it was ridiculous. Like, I didn't mind because obviously it shows that I think their games can speak for themselves, I don't think, but you do need someone there. And I think a point of which it felt the worst was during this demo where, like, is it a VR thing? Because there was no
no cut information at all.
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
Like, VR. You're like, all right, we're on the VR train. Game. You're like, are these VR games? Game. Like, I can't keep up with these games. No one has said anything about this. It's just a VR game. Games. All right, see ya. And you're like, I don't get it.
Which speaks about how... I think it speaks to the issue of Call of Duty, actually, in that we were saying it is kind of very much on rails. This looks like, at first, it could be a VR game because it did seem very scripted. It did seem to support that as it went on.
It's all first person. You're like,
it's
is
all
this a
first
VR
person,
game?
and just the way you had the hook and you kind of didn't seem to move an awful lot. It was very, very confusing at first. Obviously, it isn't a VR title.
It's not a VR game.
No,
confirmed. Breaking news.
Yeah.
So just 2 quick additions, and I promise I'll keep this brief. But
4 hours.
one of the things I was really disappointed at was the fact that we didn't see any indie games. PlayStation has been really good with indies. The console PlayStation 4 was labeled the indie station. We had an indie game at EA. We had an indie game at Ubisoft. We had indie games at Microsoft.
A lot of indie games.
So how is Sony the only people not doing indie games? That's the first quick little note. And the other is they just didn't show a lot of their games that to me are really interesting. We didn't see Wild. We didn't see Dreams. We didn't see Gran Turismo if you're interested in that. We didn't see what Sucker Punch is working on. And for me, I was disappointed in this conference because I wrote a giant E3 preview article and I was like writing about all the games I was excited about and expecting to see. And I don't think we saw any of Sony's bread and butter. It was all these sort of like, a little bit of VR here and then like, I don't know. It just, to me, the conference didn't work well for me. But that's the end of that.
But we had Crash Bandicoot, John. Come on.
Oh,
don't
get me
not
started.
even though, really. It was like, guess what?
Yeah.
Crash is back. And you're like, no way, they're in the original games in Skylanders. And you're like, fuck you. No.
It's a remaster and
he's in Skylanders. Who gives a fuck?
a dumb cameo. Yeah, exactly. Whatever. So that was just a thing.
To backtrack real quick, like for one hot sec, Liam, you have access to Titanfall 2 this year, which is a space game with better grappling hooks.
Yeah, I was going to say, if of the two, which one are you going to buy?
Titanfall is infinitely more interesting.
Exactly. It's just not
Titanfall's
even,
amazing.
and I haven't
Titanfall's
even
great gameplay.
played the first game. I can just tell, I can look at it and go,
That
looks
the
fun.
gameplay is so buttery smooth.
Yeah. So don't worry about that.
Titanfall really changed traversal in first-person
They did
shooters,
so
and we have
good,
all
too.
of these. Yeah, and we have all these first-person shooters now where, like, there's this huge focus on traversal and all this stuff. Everyone forgets, Titanfall did it first. It was just no one paid any attention to that game. So I'm really excited.
And like Call of Duty, it felt heavy and clunky, and you can only do it on certain areas, and it was just garbage otherwise. But Titanfall is a playground, and it's so smooth and quick, and the pilots are, you're running over the top of these giant mechs, shooting each other, fucking blowing each other to pieces. It's just, they have just done it so much better, and it still continues to be the best.
Real quick about that though, I am kind of sad that it's coming out so close to Battlefield 1.
Which also, I'm interested in that as well. I'm gonna get both.
I mean, to be fair, I do think the audience...
They're also both EA games.
They're both EA games. I think the audience of it are quite different, but...
I don't think so. I still think first-person shooter fans usually pretty much play them all.
Exactly, and it's out within the same week or 2 weeks or something. It's kind of very, very close. A Titanfall seems to me, put it out at the start of next year. Do that. Just have some space for it.
Or if they had planned this better, put it out in early mid-July when there's no competition.
Nothing
and this
else.
game
That would be
would
perfect.
sell millions of copies if it was Titanfall 2 out in a month. And everyone would be like, are you shitting me? We lost everything from July, and this was July and August.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah. I don't know, man. I have a bad feeling about how that'll do, because it's just a really...
Really? I still think Titanfall 2 is a game that PS4 players did not get to play. There was a trillion of them out there, and they're like, this looks fucking awesome. Call of Duty fatigue is setting in, I think, with a lot of people.
That's a good point, actually. I think a lot of people who would normally buy Call of Duty, now that they have the choice of buying something else, yeah, for sure, they'll go do something else. Anyway, guys, we gotta move on. Come on.
We did blah blah blah. They did Lego Star Wars Force Awakens. Who cares? Whatever.
Nope.
Death Stranding. We'll do a quick thing. Kojima came out, showed kind of a quick little teaser-ish CGI thing. Norman Reedus is in fact Ludens, which for whatever reason, fucking dumb Reddit figured this out beforehand. Someone traced over the top of the costume and was like, look at all these facial things. It's Def Norman Reedus. And they were right. I don't know how that happened.
It's Reddit. I don't know what it had to do with it. No.
There's not a lot to say about the game because we literally know nothing.
We won't know for years. This is such a game
This is the 2019 game at the earliest.
It's so far off. I mean, it looks cool. It looks interesting. They said it was very action focused, and if you're a fan,
I'm gonna forget about this game in 4 months until it comes back.
Oh yeah, totally. I still haven't seen it all in its entirety
It's just a super vague thing. You don't even need to see it. Someone describes it, and you're like, that can't be, and then you watch it, like, oh, that was
it is
yeah.
it. No, it's because we were doing a live blog, and then the thing crashed my stream, so I haven't quite gotten back around to doing
missed
it again. I kind of missed. No, I saw a weird baby, and I saw him on the beach completely naked, and then I saw the very end
That's
of
pretty
it. I
much
just
it.
didn't quite kind of catch any nuance. Apparently there wasn't any nuance. It's fine. Yeah, just there isn't much to talk about. It looks cool. I'm really glad he's doing something now. But
yeah, he's doing like a legit passion project of like, I just want to make a fucking game. And like,
I think
all right,
it took
cool.
2 months to make this one trailer, and I'm pretty sure that's all they've got of this game. So
yeah, they have a bunch of notes in this video.
I don't think they don't know what engine they're kind of doing right now. It's like it's all very, very early days. It looks beautiful. I just wouldn't trust it at all.
This is not a gameplay thing at all. It doesn't say like in-game footage. It's just like, look, this is a movie. Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
It costs a lot of money.
The problem with this announcement was it just felt like Sony was like, hey, look, we've got Hideo Kojima and he's making a game. And it just felt like, a flex of the muscles rather than having any content.
I can understand it. But to be fair, they did the exact same thing last year with Shenmue 3,
which has been radio silent.
But yeah, like, again, they had nothing of that game. They had that one scene, I'm pretty sure.
I don't even think it's at the show floor this year. Like, Nier was shown too. That game is at E3.
Yeah.
Shenmue, nowhere. I don't think it's on the floor. I haven't heard anything about it.
It was the same with Final Fantasy VII, which we did see slightly more. But again, I don't think there is much. It just seems like, here's a game that everyone's going to fucking go crazy for kind of very, very good reasons, but there's just not much meat on the bones. Is just like you say, John, to flex the muscles for sure.
Yeah,
but I mean, it worked. It looked cool, but whatever.
And that's the weird thing about this too, is that a lot of the games they showed this year, like, they're not coming out this year, but they're coming out early next year, and that's like, okay, what's after that? Like, is last year's show gonna come out after this year's show has come out in terms of like their respective catalogs of last year's games versus this year's games? Like, those from last year are still so far off that all these games on this list are going to come out before those ones come out.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird situation.
And then to round it out with a really cool announcement that had come from a rumor but was correct but not correct, that Sony is making indeed a Spider-Man game, but it is not done by Sucker Punch, which is what everyone thought it was going to be. It is an Insomniac game. And it looked incredible.
This is the thing. I need to again see it, because when I saw the trailer for the Spider-Man, I had a reaction to it, because for as long as I've been alive or as a gamer, they've been published by Activision, and by and large, they've been awful. They've been a few good games.
The first two were good, and then it just went...
Yeah, exactly. It's just been complete shit for almost 10 years now. So when I see any trailer for Spider-Man, I'm like, I just have this reaction of, it's awful. No. But of course, it's completely different this time. It's exclusive, and Insomniac, who understand that genre so well, and I didn't play it, but obviously a Sunset Overdrive looked incredible and kind of really, really fun to play. And this time I'll be playing a Spider-Man, which is much cooler. So
I think it is a shame that this is an exclusive, though. Like, I would have liked to see if Spider-Man's going to come back in a big way in both terms of movies and games, having it be an exclusive to a console is a damn shame.
I only own a PS4. I'm not a fanboy. I am actually quite sad that everyone's going to get a chance to play it, because it's Spider-Man. It's kind of should be for everyone. Do you know what I mean?
He is the everyman hero.
Yeah, exactly. And to have that locked off, it does seem kind of weird, but at the same time, it's a huge get for Sony. Unbelievably big get.
It's a big name. Insomniac has done almost exclusively great games.
Yep.
They've done some weird flip-flopping, though, in this past couple of years. All right, Sony, they're not going to let us do our thing. We're going to leave. Microsoft let us do our thing. And now we're back to Sony doing a thing that we definitely don't own, which was their whole thing, of that Sony wouldn't let them own Sunset Overdrive.
That's the bizarre thing, isn't it? And then they've gone to do a licensed property.
Yeah, they definitely don't. They definitely don't own.
To be fair, though, I would kind of much rather play a Spider-Man game than a whole bunch more of Arkham games. Like, I'm so completely done with... Like, I bring it up because it has the potential to be the next Arkham style, a licensed game.
Don't say that
No, I mean, like, a licensed game done well is what I mean.
Yeah, the next, like, this is There's like superhero games, not a ton of them on consoles, and not a lot of good ones.
Certainly not.
Arkham has been the superhero game for a while. And they're like, we're done making Batman. And then they're like, guess what? We're making Batman again. You're like, are you being forced at gunpoint to do this? Or do you actually want to? I can't tell. And then they're like, guess what? Spider-Man is back. Like, after he showed up in Civil War and was fucking awesome.
Exactly. If this game had been announced 2 years ago or a year ago, I don't think it would be quite as big a deal. But he's about to explode. I mean, he has exploded. I mean, he was like a breakout star of Civil War. But he's about to go insane with it, his own movie, and it's just great timing. What was the date for this again, John?
I don't think there is one.
Oh no, there isn't one.
There isn't a date. There's not even a title. The title is a working title. Just quickly, my thoughts on this is I'm not excited at all, and the reason I'm not excited is because I love Spider-Man and I love him in comics and I love him in movies, but I don't think he works in video games. I just think he's too limited as a character because he's got web swinging, and then to me there's not enough diversity in his powers to work well in a video game. So that's just my thoughts. I'm personally not excited.
I mean, you're wrong, but it's fine. It's fine. No, I don't.
I'd argue that Batman's the same way. He grapples stuff and then he punches most things.
Yeah, which is why I've never played the Batman games either.
Which is because they're not good games, but that's between me and you. And I get that. I could totally see that happening, This is going to be like, the web swinging is going to be hopefully incredible.
Sunset Overdrive had great traversal.
It totally might be that way. But I think Spider-Man has loads more charisma, and he's just more entertaining to be around than Batman is. Batman's this grovelly, angry old dude. Peter Parker is a fun kid, and he's just fucking around and he's cracking jokes. And I'm assuming that they're probably gonna have Peter Parker stuff. I hope where you can take on missions for the Bugle and stuff.
I hope so, because they haven't done that enough.
Or make it Persona where you get to go to school during the day. Holy shit!
The one thing that is worth noting is that Marvel came out with a commitment. We haven't seen a Marvel game other than Marvel Heroes for a long time. And Marvel came out and they said, look, we're done with video games. We're not going to let someone make a video game unless it's going to be good. So this actually has a seal of approval from Marvel and Marvel Studios.
Which means a lot, I think, to me. Yeah, certainly.
But yeah, that should mean a lot, and it should mean that Marvel has a hand in making sure that this Spider-Man game is true to the source material and has everything you want out of a Spider-Man story. So that's really exciting.
Especially as the resurgence of Spider-Man's on the way. If this comes out and it's shit, it's going to be a big dent in that movement.
Yes.
And so yeah, I there's no doubt in my mind that this game will be good, because I can't take the emotional distress if I think that way. But yeah, I just think in terms of him, he's just more fun to be around, and he's gonna be fun, and I'm hoping you get to play as Peter, and there's lots of stuff to do, and they have a lot of iconic Marvel dudes coming in and fucking around a while, and I'm sure
the villain roster is going to be very
interesting. So cool too.
I like his suit that he's got actually just in the
it's
trailer.
this weird mishmash of
I haven't
the
seen
Civil
that suit
War
before,
suit.
I don't think.
It's an original suit.
Yeah,
I've never
cool.
seen it in my life, but it's a mix of the Civil War suit and Ben Reilly and Tobey Maguire's and all these suits. They look kind of weird and jarring because that spider on his chest is so bright and huge and white.
Yeah,
that's the Ben Reilly coming out right there. It's that white spider. But yeah, it was a really cool way to end their show, because they had, just before they're showing a game that was exciting, but you can't even get excited for it because it's not a game yet. And then a bunch of crap for the most part for 30 minutes. And then guess what? It's a real thing. Spider-Man's being made, but not by who you think. And then I was like, fuck, that was cool.
Yeah, and then they had to go ruin it with that awful demo.
I recognize the voice actor too. He's been in anime and a couple other things. And
what, for Spider-Man?
Yeah. It's totally not important at all. But it was a cool thing. I instantly was like, oh, I know that voice. But that was the end of the Sony E3 show, and that is the end of our show as well.
Oh, we're 2 hours and 10 minutes, whatever it is. Yeah.
No, it's we're literally rolling up on 2 hours flat.
Oh, no, that's fine, because I had to restart my computer halfway through, so my timer's off.
Yeah, all screwed.
Yes. There we go. That was the show.
That was 4 hours of E3 stuff from me and John.
John, how are you feeling now?
Yep.
Because I did want to ask you before we actually end, how do you feel after covering E3 basically by yourself? Because most sites, they have a huge squad of staff. They can, do this and that. You were like, no, I'm going to do...
Which we definitely have. We were in LA at the show with our
of course.
staff.
Of course. But let's just say we didn't have that. How tired are you feeling right now after this whole week?
Not as tired as I thought I would be. It's just...
It was over and done with quite quickly, though, right? It's like, I think it was quite hard at the start, and then it just seemed to be over, like, quickly.
The worst part was Ubisoft going on for 2 hours. Because then, like, obviously you're trying to write these up after each conference finish. And, like, I hadn't finished writing up Microsoft. And I was like, well, Ubisoft will only go on for an hour. They went on for 2 hours and just everything knocked on from there. But I love video games. So, like, you can complain about it and be like, oh, it sucks, I gotta do it. But at the same time, this is the stuff I love. So, you know, it's, in a weird way, it's energizing as much as draining.
And because this is your first one that you've covered, was it a good E3?
Oh, it is? I've already done 2 of these and it's exhausting.
Oh, so, yeah, you're so experienced, Evan. But I just mean, like...
What's up?
If this had to be your first E3, was it a good one for you?
Like, last year's E3 was amazing. I really like Microsoft's press conference this year, but I think Sony really disappointed me compared to last year. Like, their conference last year was so good.
Alright, that's cool.
Oof.
Check it in. Alright, cool. Yeah, let's
roll out.
And all the stuff that we were just talking about, you can find on groundpunch.com, of course.
Yeah, no, please do. We have some good stuff up there for sure. We're going to do some more E3 related stuff as well. I can't talk. It's 1:30 in the morning. I'm super tired. I've had no fucking sleep this week. I don't even know what I've said in this entire show. It's just been a disaster. But I hope you enjoyed it. And yes, please go on groundpunch.com and have a look.
Oof.
We have exciting stuff coming up.
Yeah.
Yep. Next week will be the return of a normal show, or in 2 weeks. Maybe we'll take a break in just 2 weeks.
I think a break would be good.
We're all sleeping from now on.
I'm tired. I'm just mentally tired. So many games. I'm excited to just not have to hear about stuff for a while. Like, I don't have to wake up and check my phone and be like, what's the hot shit? I gotta know what it is. Yeah, I'm excited to just go back to lay around and do nothing. Just enjoy the sunshine and rainbows.
This podcast has an outro. We just all fall asleep on our mic.
It's a 7-hour show. Someone's like, goodbye, and then ends the show. And with that, we will take our leave. So long. Have a good one.
Goodbye.